Hey everyone, this is episode 2 of Movie in the Making, and as promised, we're going to talk to the other people working on this film. It's not just going to be me. So, here we have Peter Herro. Peter, the director on the film.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to meet all of you. I am so excited to be a part of this project, and I believe, Charlie talked about this in the previous episode about how we kind of met, and we got into this entire thing, and I'm just so excited to jump into something new and try to bring you guys a Christmas movie that's a little different than what you've seen before, but still keeping the overall feel very familiar. I'm so excited to share this entire journey with all of you along the way.
We also have Julia Knox.
Hi, it's me.
Julia, why don't you tell us, what are you doing on the film?
So I'm a producer on the film. I'm really excited to bring this story to life. I'm really excited to bring Christmas cheer and the Christmas spirit to households, and I echo everything Peter said, and this is going to be just so much fun from beginning to end to bring to life and for families to enjoy. So
it's awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And what's really cool about both these people is I met them just in my normal day-to-day life after I moved here to LA. I met Peter on a plane. We were just sitting next to each other and just started chatting, and here we are.
That was such a great conversation. I was talking about leaving, we talked about this too, but leaving the film industry and going to gaming because I was so frustrated with the film industry, and
the funding
you were doing the exact opposite. You were going from gaming into the film industry.
Full circle.
Exactly. And so we felt like we had this bond, and it's been amazing ever since. Never thought we'd be working together, but here we are
making a film.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And actually, I just want to follow up with that. And I think I was just interested in learning from you.
Yeah.
And I was just, when you move to a new place, you have to be open and talk to people and look for, serendipity and look for little trails of oh, maybe I should follow up there. That sounds interesting. I should follow that. But I think it was really neat because I was going to teach you about video games, but actually what's really happening is you're teaching me about film. And now we're working on a project together, a big one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm so excited to be, showing you along the way everything that I've learned from my previous feature that I've made. And we can all learn together because this is obviously the next step up from that.
This is a much bigger
This is a much bigger production.
One, right?
Yep. I did do an indie film for those of you that don't know called WTF, or released in 2017. It's a fun little indie slasher, and this is definitely a complete 180 from that.
And I love, by the way, what I love about WTF, well, can we talk about the budget on that one?
The budget's completely transparent on that.
Okay, that movie was made for $90,000.
Yes.
Rough,
90,000 more or less. That's including marketing.
Oh my gosh! So making it was even less. The actual production budget was even less.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
What do you think? 80?
Yeah, I would say more like 80.
80?
Yeah.
If you watch this film, which by the way, it's a little hard to find, but you can find it on YouTube. It's called WTF. It's really impressive. There's no way I would have ever thought that you made that movie on $80,000. It's just really impressive. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to work with you. Because I'm if he can do this much with $80,000, what can he do at the next step up?
Right. Yeah. I know there's a ton of filmmakers out there. You know how it is being on a very tight budget, because a lot of these films we're making are on sometimes even less than $80,000.
Wow.
And so, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you guys as we all kind of stumble along our way making this happen. But I have no doubt that we're going to make a very powerful piece, and I'm excited about it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You started your career, I guess, in film, but then for the past couple of years, you've been actually quite successful in video games. Do you want to talk about directing?
Sure. Yeah. I don't mind. I transitioned a little bit away from film, and this happened during the pandemic. It was just a time where gathering was just not it. So making a movie was out of the question, right? And I knew back then that it was going to be years before we were out back into the world. And I'm like, what am I going to do with my time? I kind of fell in love with a game called Fortnite. I got into it because my nephew and I were connecting during the pandemic, and we started to play. And that was our way of just talking. We would talk and play. And then I just started to fall in love with the game. And there was a creative mode in there. I started to be able to create things. And that's naturally where I always tend to go to, is wanting to create. And so in these worlds, you can create your own games and publish them for people to play.
That's UEFN?
This was before UEFN.
Before UEFN. Okay.
This was just called Fortnite Creative, and it was more of a hobbyist thing back then. I created a little bit of a following under the gamer tag Directing Pete, and the idea behind that was really just to create these worlds with story. So it's still kind of storytelling, creating an entire storyline, and they're rather cheesy if you guys do digging, but it was fun. And it kind of led me to just being able to find a creative outlet. To your point, though, it did later lead into UEFN, which released a year and a half ago.
Can you describe what
UEFN is? It's basically a version of Unreal Engine, which is a tool that allows you to design video games. And so it is
basically, right?
Yeah, and if you're a filmmaker, it's like, think of it like Final Cut Pro but in the gaming world, you're creating actually all the way from concept. So it's your camera and Final Cut Pro, or your editing software together. So I'm creating these maps from scratch. You put them out there for people to play, and I've relatively had some success in that area. I'm gonna
I feel like
downplay it.
You're pretty humble.
I'm gonna downplay it a bit, but
you're like a top 20 creator.
I'm definitely not. I'm a top 100 creator.
Okay. You have been top,
but there's
5, 10, 20.
Yes, I've been in the top 10 a handful of times, but I do hover around the top 100, which is great if you consider the amount of people in the space. Yeah. There's got to be 100,000 creators out there. So, doing very well in that space, but very excited to come back to film and, get back out there now that we can all congregate again.
Yeah. We don't have to post it. I can just remove this part. But do you want to talk about how much money you've made?
No.
No? Okay, good. I'll cut that out.
Only because Fortnite doesn't allow it.
Oh, they don't?
Yeah, so if it became public, I would get banned.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's too bad.
It is too bad. You sign the terms.
Well, can you give me an idea of how much someone, if they can breach the top 10?
Oh, yeah. This is public.
Or something?
This is public information. They did post, Fortnite did post last year what the top 10 creators made. And it did range anywhere, I believe, from 25 million to 10 million for the top 10 in a year. That's why I said I'm not in the top 10. And I want to be very clear that there's a huge discrepancy once you get below
it drops off.
Top 20.
Yeah.
It's like a severe curve down.
Wow. This is like Steam, right? So
Yeah,
Steam, the top people make tons and tons of money. Mm-hmm. Everyone else basically is not profitable.
Yeah, so I wanted to be very clear.
That's
I'm not in the top 10. But if you're in the top 10, you're doing very well. That was based on public information that Fortnite offered up about a year ago.
Amazing. So, I guess, I saw you really busting your butt to stay. You were constantly making changes to your maps, releasing them, seeing how people play them. There's other trends that are happening, like sub trends and waves.
Keeping up with trends.
Yeah, people would copy your map, and then they would they see something you do that was doing really well, so they copy it and they put out the same game but with the same thumbnail but a slightly different name.
Yeah,
and then
it happens.
Steal all your traffic from you, and then you have to
this
look
is
at them, and
it's a weird industry. Everyone's is trying to gobble each other up. There'll be a map that's about 9. When I say map, that's like a game that I've created. So I refer to them as maps. But those maps are, I'll create something, someone will steal 90% of it, and then tweak one thing that's actually pretty inventive. and then they'll take all my traffic. But then I have to go in there and go, what are they doing that's working? And I'm like, great. If you took 90% of it, I'm going to take the 10% you invented and put it in mine. Like, hey, if you're going to play that game with me, I'm going to play it right back. And so we have to stay on top of it, and that's just kind of the world. That's that world, and you know what? It kind of translates. I mean, you see the movies coming out in Hollywood; they kind of all feel the same, and we're hoping we don't do that, you know. But I want to be very clear too that I kind of want to create a film that does resonate with kind of some of the older films that we've seen in the '90s. I fell in love with movies in the '80s and '90s. Aging myself a little bit.
Me too.
But, you know, there is something about them that you just don't get in movies today. And I want to go back to that original formula. If you watch WTF, you will realize that I have a little bit of a 90s nostalgia type thing going on, as I did that with WTF as well a little bit. But
Can you talk about what? What specifically?
Yeah, it was more just the look and feel and kind of just the story structure. It's cabin in the woods story structure.
Party at the parents' house.
Party at the parents' house. I didn't want to necessarily... I wanted to keep the original story structure with an inventive twist at the end, and that's what I did.
Which you did.
And
Good job
so,
with that, by the way.
thank you. And so what I wanted to do with this is kind of something similar, where when you watch it, you go, oh my God, this feels like that Christmas movie I watched a long time ago, but it feels new, it feels updated, and it's different. Like, it offers something a little different that I haven't seen before. And I'm just really excited about that, and I really think we can pull it off.
That's awesome. So this is
Coming back full circle.
This is why I love this podcast format, because I don't know if we would have had that discussion otherwise, but I just learned something about what we're making, which is that we're trying to channel an 80s or 90s vibe to an extent.
Yeah,
and
we
update it. Like, I didn't know that.
But in an updated world.
That's so cool. That wasn't in any of our internal documents.
That's true.
But it's
true.
great, and no fault on you. Like,
there's just so much to cover.
There's so much to cover, and it's such a subtle point, and it would have come out anyways.
This is such a solid introduction. Like, I just want to say, like, this conversation is just really beautiful.
We all have so much to offer, but we don't usually talk about it.
I would love to hear more, though. I mean, I know we're wrapping up with me, but I'd love to hear more from Julia as well.
Absolutely. I met you, I guess it was at Soho House, and we just started talking about drawing and video games, and I mentioned Subnautica, and I think you had played it.
I hadn't played Subnautica yet.
You'd heard about it, I think.
I had heard about it. I was actually just gotten my first Switch since my last console of a Nintendo 64, and I had already spent 180 hours on Breath of the Wild, and then I was about to, and then I was working my way through Tears of the Kingdom, where I played 200 hours, and you were like, oh, so you're into video games? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I played Counter-Strike growing up, stuff like that, so I was still on Steam, and so, I know, and so, I'm just so happy to feed my nerd soul, and so I was like, I have to play Subnautica, and then I did, and then I think you were so surprised of how much time I put into it.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
such a wonderful game.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful and well-crafted game, and I just am so grateful that I met you, because I wouldn't have played it otherwise.
There you go.
So no offense.
And I sold one copy. No, just kidding.
Yes.
Yes. This is how you sell video games, one by one. Just like we get podcast viewers, listeners, one by one.
I love the storytelling aspect of video games so much, and the world building of it so much. That's why I'm so drawn to open world, because it can be so much like making movies, and because you're creating a world. No matter what it is or what genre, I mean, it's especially fun when doing a Christmas movie, because it's sure, this is based on reality, but we get to make our own thing and universe that we get to bring audiences and people into, and that's the most fun part to me as a filmmaker and a producer, is creating these worlds for people to escape their reality and have
lives.
Fun.
Yeah.
Come on this journey with me right now, and these characters, dive into this person, and I've had the opportunity to do a lot of those things in my own short films.
And I was going to say, can you tell us what you've done? You're working with us as a producer, but you have a whole other side, not even side thing, but you have your own other stuff happening.
So, I mean, I moved to Los Angeles to be an actor. I found a lot of success at first. I hit the ground running, but then COVID came in and shut it down. But it was in the COVID times that I learned how to write confidently, because I never thought I could be a writer. And so I just started writing and making my own films. And so a lot of it started as one-sceners in like a short form way, and then I started making my own short films, and then I ended up partnering with this really talented director-actor Eric Delgado, and we made a pilot called Gringo Latino, and it premiered at La Leaf, which is a really, really big deal. It's like the biggest Latino festival, at least in North America. I've just learned so much as a filmmaker and getting in those rooms and putting together, again, like these worlds and these stories and these humans and these characters, and I'm just really excited to, again, next really big step of making my first feature. So, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of this team, because it's just been an absolute dream so far, and we're gonna make an awesome movie.
Let's do it. You can see that there's a lot of energy in this room. I think everyone here is very excitable. So something I really like. We all have our hustles and our projects and our hopes and dreams, and trying to get more of that stuff done before we kick the can.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really exciting. It's really fun to be around you guys. I think it might be time to go watch some Christmas movies. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next episode.